McCowan and Shannon back with you, and joining us today from WGR Radio in Buffalo, Howard Simon is with us. Nice to see you. How are things?
Good, gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
We're good. Want to start with the Buffalo Bills, obviously, but let's go back to last weekend with the game against Miami, where the Miami quarterback gets taken out of the game, presumably with some kind of head injury. They've later stated it was a back problem. I talked to a neurosurgeon this morning, actually, and he said that Tua should not have played in Thursday's game under any circumstance, and now should be out for at least 2 or 3 weeks. But it sounds like he came home with the team after last night's game and getting knocked out, and they're trying to spin it that he's okay. What do you make of this?
Yeah, not a neurosurgeon. Try not to play one. But let's face it, if you're watching the game, guys, we're watching that game, and the Bills game, not last night's game. So he gets shoved, right? He hits the ground. His head, we see the replay. His head goes in the turf. When they show him live getting up, trying to walk, and he's wobbly and all that stuff, maybe we don't think about it as much with football. How many times have we seen a hockey player try and skate off the ice when he just suffered a head injury and they can barely stand and make it to the bench? So, I wanted the Bills to win, of course. But when Tua is literally fighting to stay up, that's scary stuff. So my thought was, like everybody else, oh my goodness, it's a head injury. He's out. They even said the team released he's questionable with a head injury. I thought, he's not playing again. That's a concussion. When they said he's coming back out and he's on the field and he's taking warm-ups and he's going to play, I was skeptical. I didn't need Thursday night to happen either. I was really – that looked like a guy who had some kind of a brain injury, and what's he doing playing, the rest of the football game?
But as well as I do, Howard.
It just, paid $1 billion on that, on the, the lawsuit.
Yeah.
And to allow him to even play again is suspect. I do not understand why the league did not step in and say, no, you can't play.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure if the league feels this is going to sound crazy. I'm not sure if the league believes that they're supposed to step in and do that. Like there's this process in place. And
I agree. Yeah.
The medical and team personnel, they've built up some checks and balances, right? The medical and team personnel are supposed to be the ones that say, you're good, you're not good, not up to the football coach, not up to the GM, not up to the owner. So it's the medical and team personnel. Now you might look at that and say, well, they're going to want the guy to play. They're employed by the team. They want the team to win. So you put in an independent neurologist who's doing this test and everything to try and see if he's okay. I guess I would wonder, guys, not in the room. Okay. So I don't know how he answered questions and how he looked. You would wonder, an independent neurologist sees the video of this guy getting up and he's wobbling. How do you clear him to go back and play football? Even if they tell you, the player's going to say, I'm fine to go back in. But if they tell you it's his back, I don't know. It was very skeptical. And look, it became a huge story, as you know, guys, after what happened in Cincinnati. Now we're all looking at it going, why was he playing to begin with? So the league I think this is going to get a lot worse for the league and everybody who's involved in it.
You said not the GM, not the coach, not the owner. And it should be not the player too.
Right.
That's and as well as I do, this is a macho sport, Howard. Yeah. This is a sport where you tape an aspirin to it and get back out there. But at a certain point, I do think the league and the team have to protect the player from himself.
They're supposed to, right? And that's why I think there are going to be a lot of questions asked. They over time, we've understood a little bit more about concussions, right? And the league put in these protocols, and then they went to an independent neurologist. They have spotters upstairs who are looking at the field, looking at the benches, that they notice anything strange, pull the player out. So they put in some mechanisms, but as an outsider, and this is all me just guessing based on watching video and everything, you'd think somewhere the process they put in place failed for him to be back playing football against the Bills. And then, so then the follow-up is the concussion last night. And now they say this is a concussion. They never called Sunday's injury a concussion. They never said he was in concussion protocol. But last night, coupled with what happened 4 days prior, what's the cumulative effect? Hopefully he's okay with his life.
Well, and actually, you touched on something there that's really important. Remember all the controversy about, injecting Thursday night games into the schedule?
Yeah.
I mean, this was the short week for this. I mean, this happens on Sunday the first time. Obviously, Monday's a day of rest and watching tape. But here he is, 4 or 5 days later, playing in this game. That to me is such an indictment of Thursday night football being an issue when you have to recuperate.
Yeah, I think it makes it worse. Okay. But I still think even if there wasn't, they don't have, you guys know the NHL, right? What is it? 7 days symptom free before they even allow you to practice, right?
That's right. Yeah.
They don't have that in the NFL. I mean, he would have been, as long as they cleared him, let's say it was a Sunday game, not a Thursday game. As long as he was cleared, he would have been okay to practice Wednesday of this week. So I think there's a larger issue. The short work week may have made it even worse, fellas, but I think there's a larger discussion of, should he have been cleared? Should he have been playing football? What if there was a Sunday game? My guess is they would have trotted him out on the field for a Sunday game.
Well, one of the things that occurs to me, because I don't trust the National Football League as far as I can spit, but, if you allow the medical staff of a team to make those kinds of decisions, you're going to be in some trouble, right? Because they work for the team. They understand what the team wants, sure, and they are the employers. So they are going to do that. So now they bring in an independent guy or group, but they aren't independent. They are hired by the National Football League, who has essentially the same objective. What this league needs to be able to do is figure out a way for independent neurologists to make these kinds of decisions. I'm not sure how you do that because they have to get paid by somebody. Either that, or as you suggested, have a minimum number of days that a player has to sit out.
Yeah, I guess we were talking about that this morning. What's the next step? Okay, they have protocols. They worked in this independent person. So if the system still failed, if they determine, and by the way, the Players Association is still investigating the Miami Bills game and wondering why he got back out on the field. So if they determine the system failed, what's the next step? Is the next step, do you put in a black and white policy that says if you don't have correct functions, if you're wobbling, if you're woozy, you just don't play that game. We err on the side of caution. You don't play no matter what, even if you tell us it's my back, I feel fine. And you get them out and then you go through a full set of examinations the next day, the day after, what have you.